Okay, let's work on this one here. This is video number 114. I'm doing the first problem of assignment number 42, and because I'm aware of the fact that kids have had problems with this stuff over the years, and besides, you know where we're all at with this crisis that we had, I'll work through these very carefully. So here's the problem, right? This algebraic expression, quadratic trinomial, divided by this algebraic expression, a binomial first degree, or mini or binomial. And we're guaranteed, as I've said before, that the remainder must be 0 or we're not playing the right game. We've talked about that again and again. So the remainder has to be 0, and I'll just put some numbers in here. I keep using the same numbers, but let's just do 24 divided by 8, okay? Instead of saying this algebraic expression, I spent this one. And the game is that the remainder has to be 0. So I move this over here so you can see a little better what I'm doing. So here I'm just dividing 8 into 24. And here I'm just dividing what I was asked to, which was equivalent to the 8. And there's the 24. And 8 goes into 24 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. When I subtract, I have a remainder of 0. And so I check. 8 times 3 equals 24. I'm done. Over here. Well, the polynomial math is the same as long as you agree to play the game, right? So I'm going to do the same thing over here that I just finished with 24 divided by 8, and let's see how it goes for us, all right? So this was the first assignment. As I mentioned in the letter this morning, it's going to have to be a little more difficult, so let's get the ideas down. So I wrote this out over here, and let's just get rid of the 24 and the 8. That would just be a cause for confusion. And here we go. So as I mentioned before in the last video, how did I get x here? So I told you there are two ways to look at it. The way that most kids do is what number here times this number here matches this number here. And you find that very confusing, then you can divide the first term by the first term in what you're dividing by. So that is 2x squared divided by 2x. And no matter what you do, you get x. So if you're ever confused or something like that, that's one way. The other way is to just multiply backwards. So I stopped here when I multiplied x times 2x to get 2x squared, and as I mentioned before, since it's a binomial, x times 1, x. And now I go over here, I just turn the tables on you, and didn't I have to subtract over here? You all agreed that when I divided 8 into 24 and got 3, I subtracted. Well, I'm just going to do the same thing here. But since you're big boys and girls now, I'll get it over here in the middle. Since you're big boys and girls now, you see that you have to subtract the way that you subtract when you're doing polynomials. And polynomials don't say you always minus. The polynomials say that you take the opposite sign of the term that you're talking about. And there should be a square here. Sorry about that. Okay? So now I subtract, or I take the opposite. I must get a 0 here. But 9x minus x is 8x. No one would deny that who's taking a math course. And now I stop here. And this is often a, I don't know, problem sometimes for the kids. But you're not going here to here. You're going here to here, just like you would if you did this into 840. 8 into 240. So now you have to take this and divide it into this. But that's just saying 8x divided by what? Excuse me, 8x divided by 2x. Okay? And what does that equal? That equals 4. So one more time. The 8x is divided by the 2x, the first term here. What do I get? I get 4 when I do that. Positive or negative? Positive. So I erase this again. One more time I explain. How did I get 4 here? I divided 2x into 8x. Or I saw that 4 times 2x matches 8x. And what matches for one has to match for the other. And now you're where you want to be. You're in the sweet spot when you do this math. When I put the bar, you take the opposite. That's the meaning of this math. And the remainder is 0, just like it was over here. Okay? So you all see that? And I'm going to have time to do another one. And I'll get at it really fast. By the way, this you were assigned these, so. Here we go. We're racing here. And I'm going to go a little faster on this second one, and then even much faster on the third one so you can get the answers. And then I'm going to assign you another one, and then I'm going to teach you that, there are more complicated ways of doing this that the regents want you to know. So here we go. Got this going here, and we do the number 2 on the assignment, and this is saying that 3x squared plus 2x minus 8, 2x minus 8 is divided by 3x minus 4. Okay? So now I'm going to walk through it a little faster, and we're expecting you to understand it. Like I said in the letter this morning, you can always pause the video. That's what I'm doing. That was the assignment number 2, and I'll go down this way since I'm on the left-hand side of the board, and we'll just write everything out. So I'm doing this one for you on the board, and hopefully you're working along with me. Okay, so 3x goes into 3x squared. X times 3x is 3x squared. I matched it. Could have done it the other way. What's left? It's a binomial. Got to keep an eye on that. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Bar. Take the opposite. That's what we told you to do. You have to get a 0 here. 2 plus 4 is 6. So I get 6x. Bring down the negative 8. Now go again. 3x goes into 6x 2 times. So here I pause in this second problem. It either works or it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, I'll get a remainder down here. I'll show you that later so you get an idea of what we're talking about. And so it either matches or it doesn't. But if you look at it, 2 times 3x is 6x. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And when I take their opposites, I get a remainder of 0. So now I'm going to check it. And I saw in the homeworks that a lot of kids were rushing to check it. So let's check this. And let's go over what we talked about a little bit before. So what do? We divided 8 into 24. And we got 3. And then we said 3 times 8 equals 24. So let me do the same thing with this so the kids see what's going on. And the Regents wants this. The Regents wants this because that's exactly what you're backing up what you learned about the FOIL and multiplying binomials. And if you can multiply something without a remainder, you can divide something. So the Regents want you to see all that stuff. They want you to see the connection between these algebraic expressions and numbers, okay? And so now, just like I multiplied 3 times 8, now I'm going to multiply 2x, in any order as we well know, 3x minus 4. So that might be the equivalent of, what was the the number 8, and so this would have been the 3 and this the 8. Whatever, it doesn't really matter all that much. But now we know how to multiply binomials, so that's what I was mentioning to you before, that the Regents want you to be able to think like this. So f is 3x squared. They expect you to know that. There's the last, so there's the minus 4x. You're expected to learn what people teach you. And there's the inner, and there's the outer. And when I put these guys together like you were taught to do, I come up with the check, just like I came up with the other check over there. This is the same as that. Okay, and that was the idea of the homework. Okay, so I'm up to 10 minutes now, so I'm going to do the last one even faster because I'm going to assign you more anyway. So let me just do this, and the last one I'll go faster, and I probably won't check that. I think that's been explained, and they're not always insisting on a check, and often when we get to more complicated problems, we won't do that much, but we will get to more complicated problems. Getting a remainder of 0 is enough for most kids. If it works hard. Okay, so let's do the last problem here, and we got 4x, and I'm going to cut short one step here, because there's no reason for me to go on and on the same way. No, it's minus 15x. Sorry about that. I've got to copy the data down right. Otherwise, you're going to get a remainder. Okay? And we're dividing this by x minus 3. Okay? So there we go again. We can get rid of this and this now and put it back later. So we got it in the corner here. Okay, and so let's go, and so x goes into 4x squared, 4x times, so that means that this is just 4x, okay, so 4x times x is 4x squared, and then what goes next? 4 times negative 3 is negative 12x, opposite signs as we were taught to do, there's 0 plus 3x, plus 9. Now I go x into 3x, goes 3 times, check. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3. Whoa. Oh, this is negative 3. See how I caught myself when I made a mistake? You should look at that, because I was going to get a remainder, but notice that negative 15 is bigger than positive 12. So that turned out to be a difference. It's checking the math. For mistakes that I'm famous for making. So let's do that again. So that's negative 3. Hold on here. So that's negative 3. So that means this is negative 3. And now it works. So this is negative 3x, negative 3 times x, and the negative times a negative is a positive, and there we go. Okay? And take the opposites because you're subtracting, and you get 0 on the 2 ones, a remainder 0. Okay? So I'm going to abstain from the check. That was explained to you. And I am going to assign you more problems. And I might want to talk about more difficult problems as we go along, like I said before. Okay? So let's see how this works out. I'll give you an assignment shortly, and see how you do on the upcoming problems.